Why, hello. I hope all is going well. Midway Piper back here with you. Today is Friday, April 11th, which means it is the 11th day of the Codger Challenge for 2025. Now, we're going to start with that real quick. Things are still going well. I did not have the urge to smoke something different besides my half-breed blend, so that's good. So yeah, things are still going well. I had a hankering to smoke one of my Harriet pipes today, and since this is the one that I allowed in the challenge, this is the one that I'm using. So you guys know this one. You know, it's amazing. There was not a sound out here for the last 10 minutes. Absolutely amazing. Hopefully I'll move the camera just a little bit closer. Ready for my close-ups here. Hopefully it doesn't pick up too much of that noise and focuses on the words coming out of my mouth. Got that, camera? All right, cool. So things are going well for the Codger Challenge still. One thing I do want to mention, I think I pissed off the great YouTube Overlord. With the title of yesterday's video. Yesterday I entitled my video, good, now stay off. Yesterday I entitled the video, beware of something along the lines of beware of what you read and watch or listen to, or something along those lines. And I was simply speaking about the tariffs and what the news is saying about that, and I talked about dire wolves. Nothing offensive, but as of me coming out here and turning on my phone, the video has been out for 20 hours and has had 3 views, which one of those I know was me. I do like to go back and watch my videos and make sure I didn't screw up anything too badly. So that means there's only been 2 views on that last video, and it was a little bit of a longer one. It wasn't planned to go as long as it did, but it did. Such is the way of my channel. But 2 other views is still not normal. So I think I pissed off the YouTube Overlord, hinting at some sort of controversy that YouTube doesn't like, even though it had nothing to do with that. So if you're interested in all the stories about dire wolves, or a couple of thoughts on corruption and tariffs, please feel free to go back and watch the last video. That being said, we're moving on to today's video, which is an episode of Pipes and Books. At first I was thinking that there wasn't going to be all that much to talk about today, but it turns out, as I have everything laid out on this table that you can't see in front of me, there's apparently a lot to talk about. So let's jump right into it. Of course, after I relight my pipe. All right. Let's get into it. I finished 2 books this week. 2. Book number 1, started and finished, Huckleberry Finn by Mark Twain. Y'all probably know the book. Great cover. I was a little, no, I wasn't disappointed. But I was pretty ready for it to be done by the time I reached the halfway point. I don't know. It's just a bunch of adventures, that Huckleberry Finn and Jim go on, and it's okay. So I read Huckleberry Finn, I read Tom Sawyer, and to be perfectly frank, I don't really, not a huge fan of Mark Twain, which, in all fairness, I didn't expect that I was, but I don't know why, because they're kind of like slice of life adventure books. I don't know. I'm just not haven't enjoyed them all that much. I'm glad I read them both, but I don't know. Just didn't really do it for me. But I read it. The other book I read, well, listened to, and I don't even have a physical copy of this. Audible had a 2-for-1 sale, and every time they have one of those, I just sort of go through all the books that they have listed on the sale to see what piques my interest. And there were 2 books, one of which I listened to and finished. The other one I am currently listening to and about halfway done through it. So the one I finished, again, don't have physical copies of either of these 2 books. The book I finished is called Brave New Words, How AI Will Revolutionize Education by Salman Khan. What I didn't realize getting into this book was it is essentially a sales pitch for his online academy, Khan Academy, Khan, if you're interested in checking it out. It's sort of like an online tutoring nonprofit kind of setup, which is okay. But what piqued my interest with this, though, is they have something that's called Khanmigo, which is, so Khanmigo. It is an AI tutor, I guess, is what I take away from it. And so it piqued my interest because there's a lot of interesting aspects to it. So and again, this is what I got from the book. I haven't actually explored it yet. Yet is the key word. Because I'm thinking about getting a subscription of this for my son. So good job on the book. I will be subscribing shortly. But it's a AI tutor. So it can do things like, kids can input a problem in a subject that they're struggling with, and it can walk them through how to solve those problems. It does that supposedly through inquiries. So instead of just giving you the answer, it walks you through the thought process of how you can get from one thing to the other. If there's terminology you don't understand, it can explain that to you. It gives the example of it co-writing stories with kids. So it'll give a prompt, and maybe it will start the story, or maybe the kid will start the story, and then it will fill in the next couple lines of the story, and then the kid will then riff off of that, and together they'll sort of write a story. It can make suggestions and things like that. As far as like history kind of stuff, through synthesizing all of the information that's known about historical figures, it could sort of take on the personality of a historical figure, and you can ask them questions, and it'll sort of be like if you were interviewing that historical figure, they could, based on what's they've written and things like that in the past, you'll be able to answer those questions. Also, authors, characters, and stories, same thing. Very interesting sounding stuff. Part of the reason I'm interested in this is my son has made incredible progress this school year. A lot of the things that were giving him difficulties and giving him additional support in school, he has come very far in a lot of those things, which is fantastic. The one thing that he's still struggling with is writing. He's always been really good at cheating the system, and so he's always figured out the easiest way to write a sentence. So if you were to write a sentence such as, I went to the park and played volleyball with friends, he would write the sentence, I played volleyball at the park, or I played at the park with friends, which is fine. But we want to sort of build that ability to write and express things in more detail. And so, listening to this book, I kind of piqued my interest. I did some research online about it. You can subscribe for $4 a month. And this AI supposedly will start to learn your child. And it can report back to you and tell you what progress they've made and what they're working on and what they're struggling with. It sounds interesting. We were hoping that last year, he qualified for a summer school program, and it was really good. It was a lot of more of like a one-on-one with him and a teacher. He's made such good progress this year, he doesn't qualify. We just found out yesterday. So I personally am worried about him losing some of the progress he's made this year. The school district is struggling to justify why he would need it, so I want to find something. And so this might be sort of a happy medium for that. So eventually down the road, I will let you guys know. We'll probably start during the summer. Again, $4 a month. So if it's even semi-decent, probably worth it. I'll let you know. So that was one. Brave New Words is the title of the book by Salman Khan. So that was the one book I finished. The other one I am currently reading right now, listening to. It's by Harry Crews, and it's called A Childhood, A Biography of a Place. And it's about his life. Sort of actually about his family and place a little bit before he was alive, and then his early years, through memories and stories that other people have told him. I had never heard of Harry Crews, but it will be a theme of the books I'm going to show you guys shortly. I've mentioned him countless times on this channel. Again, I'll link to his channel down below. Johnny Keene has recommended Harry Crews in the past, and this was one of the books that was in that 2-for-1 sale. So I got that along with the Brave New Words book. And as with most books that Johnny Keene recommends, absolutely loving it. It is what I kind of hoped Huckleberry Finn would be. So it's about his life growing up in the South as a young kid in the place that he lives. Maybe that's what it is with Huckleberry Finn. I think I enjoyed Tom Sawyer a little bit more because it's also about the place where they live, and Huckleberry Finn was just more of a long on-run adventure, various places. So maybe it's the place that ties that I like. I don't know. Highly recommend, again, A Childhood, A Biography of a Place by Harry Crews. So I'm halfway through that book. So on to the rest of what I'm currently reading. These two you guys have seen already. No One Is Coming to Save You. Made a little bit of progress on that. Again, I'm actually reading this one on my Kindle at night, so not moving very fast through it. Not the point of it. Got Good stuff. Highly recommend checking that book out if you get a chance. Another recommend by Johnny Keene, again, with the Europa editions. He's pretty much said anything by Europa editions is highly worth it. This will be the second or third Europa editions book that I'm reading, and this one is absolutely phenomenal. I made a lot of progress in it this week in Novel Bookstore. Made some pretty good progress in this. This one is my sit down and physically read this book. Essentially what it is, it starts off with a whole bunch of random people that are being randomly attacked, or things are happening to them. You don't really understand the connection. And then as the story progresses, you learn about these two people who, like-minded, they meet and they create a novel bookstore. And so what they want to do is feature only the best of literature. And so they open a bookstore and they recruit several authors that they have high respect for. And they reach out to these authors, and this is all kind of done on the secret, so none of these authors know each other, know that they're connected, and they know the booksellers, but that's it. They don't know that there's who the other authors are that have contributed. And so each of them is provided a list of something like 600 of their top favorite pieces of literature, and each of the 8 of them submit those. They compile a list, and those are listed as the best pieces of literature that they are going to stock in this bookstore. And then, of course, the 2 that started the place are going to sort of fill in gaps of things that they sort of think were missing from the list as far as the best literature. And the attacks that you find out about at the beginning of the book, somebody is going after these authors, discovering who they are. Nobody knows how they're being discovered. It's not public information. They all use fake names and when they're contacting the bookstore, so nobody knows how they're being found out. And so after the couple of the attacks, the 2 booksellers go to the police, and they sort of recount the whole, how they formulated the idea for this bookstore and that whole process. So the story sort of unfolds maybe a quarter of the way through the book as to the background of everything that's happened. Very good story. A Novel Bookstore. Highly recommend that as well. And then finally, if you do choose to go back and watch my previous video, the yesterday's one, the one I was mentioning, that got pissed off the YouTube gods, talked a little bit about the direwolves thing and Colossal Lab and all that such information, and wanting to dive a little bit deeper into what's going on there. I mentioned a scientist by the name of George Church, and he's been talking about bringing mammoths back and such for a very long time, and turns out he wrote a book, Regenesis. So I'm just got this yesterday, I think. Haven't really made too much progress in it, but I want to know what's going on, some of the background, how synthetic biology will reinvent nature and ourselves. So yeah, so that's that. Which means it's time to go over the book haul of books I got this week. Starting with that one, of course. I picked up a couple books for my son. I'll show you those real quick. Again, he is a huge fan of, he's really getting into reading, like pretty hardcore. The other night I had to tell him to put his book down and go to bed, which I never expected to have to say to him. Even a couple months ago, I never would have seen that coming. And he's really taken to reading. We've encouraged it, of course, and can't get enough of it. Every time we go in a car, he wants to bring a book to look through with him, so it's great. And one of the book series that he really loves is called The Investigators. Dun dun dun, The Investigators. This one is Ants in Our Pants, and they're graphic novels. They're graphic novels. So he likes to look through them, and we read them every night. His bedtime story, we'll read a couple chapters of each of these during the night. And then, so that's the next one that he doesn't have. And then I also picked up the next one after that. These are great books if you've got kids. They're fantastic. Lots of great jokes. Lots of great puns. Some of it goes over their heads, over my son's head at least. I think they're mostly put in for adults that are reading with the kids. Just leave this right here. You guys can read that little section real quick if you want. Tons of little puns here. Pretty funny stuff. So yeah, the books are great. They're just full of that kind of stuff. And I'll show you real quick if any of these have it. That one does not. Neither of these do have it. Some of the other stories have how to draw some of the characters. And one of the things I like to do with my son in the morning, before I leave for work, is we'll sit down and we'll draw. Maybe I'll show you guys. I'm not a good artist in any way, shape, or form, but maybe one of these videos I'll show you guys some of the drawings. So we'll each draw something. He likes to draw all sorts of random stuff. Again, 8 years old, not very good artist. I'm not a very good artist, but we sit down and we do it together, and we have fun doing it every morning. So that's good stuff. So that's that. I picked up another Harry Crews novel. This is the only one they stock at any of the local bookstores. So this is The Knockout Artist. Penguin Classics, of course. You can see it's not a huge book. But I'm really loving the writing style of Harry Crews. So I think going forward, this will be another author I'm going to keep checking out. I picked up Desert Solitaire by Edward Abbey. So he was an environmentalist. Some of you guys might know him from the book The Monkey Wrench Gang, which a lot of, in the past, the environmental, I guess they're classified as environmental terrorist groups, have used that inspiration from that book to spike trees in the past to stop people from cutting trees and all that kind of stuff. But he was, I guess, a park ranger, and this is a book about being out in nature, and it's sort of overexploitation, both due to industry such as logging and oil, as well as destruction by tourism as well. So again, not a huge book. I don't have any direct plans to read this, but it's certainly something of interest, so I picked it up. When I find something about an author that I like or that I'm interested in, I'll often just pick up one of their books so I have it on hand. I'm a mood reader, so it changes all the time. Almost there. earlier in the week, I was watching some old interviews with, he's a neurobiologist and a primatologist, Robert Sapolsky. This is his most recent book, Determined: The Science of Life Without Free Will. And this book is a lot of the science behind how our brains have evolved over time, and how what happens, our experiences growing up, as well as the experiences of our family and relatives, our parents, and all that kind of stuff, how those all those things have effects on us, and how necessarily we don't, he's under the impression that we have no free will. Everything that we're going to do is sort of predetermined by our biology. And if it's not abundantly clear, I don't solely agree with him, but there's a lot to consider there for sure. So I was watching an interview, actually it was a debate between him and another guy named Daniel Dennett, who is he passed away not too long ago, philosopher, modern day philosopher, and he was debating the case for having free will. And he made a lot of very interesting points. I started watching some other stuff with him. And I ordered a couple of his books online. But I also wanted to pick up this book, I've Been Thinking. There's the man. And this is pretty much a book about what he thinks about thinking. One of the century's most widely read and debated philosophers spent his career considering the thorniest, most fundamental mysteries of the mind. Do we have free will? What is consciousness, and how did it come about? What distinguishes human minds from the minds of other animals? Dennett's answers profoundly shaped our age of thought and reshaped the relationship between philosophy and cognitive science. Now featuring reminiscences from his longtime friend and interlocutor, Douglas Hofstadter, I've Been Thinking tells the story of Dennett's amazing career and revolutionary ideas. So, interesting stuff. So I am actually really looking forward to getting into this book. He is often referred to as one of the four horsemen of the apocalypse. He was a pretty ardent atheist, often associated with Dawkins and the like. Although, again, very different ideas than Dawkins in a lot of cases as well. And finally, in the complete opposite span of that, again, thanks to Johnny Keene, he's done some videos on a Dutch Reform theologian, Herman Bavinck, and some of his work. I've watched some videos and things about him, and some of it piqued my interest, so I picked up a couple of books on him. I think I'm waiting on one more, but I did pick up a biography of him. I picked up a little book entitled Christian Worldview. At some point in life, we all wonder, who am I? What is the world, and what is my place within it? Only Christianity offers answers to these questions in a way that meets our truest needs, and satisfies our deepest longings. In this important work, translated into English for the first time, Herman Bavinck provides a framework for understanding why the Christian worldview is the only solution to the discord we feel between ourselves, the world, and God. So I picked that up. And then finally, hold on a second. I've been doing too much talking. Finally, he's probably most well known for a big series on Reformed theology. It's a 4-volume set, and each of them is something like 800 pages or something like that. And I'm not even going to pretend that I'm going to jump into that anytime soon. But what has been recently published is The Wonderful Works of God, again by Herman Bavinck. There's The Sower. This is a very famous piece of art. I forgot who the original artist was, but it was an inspiration to Van Gogh, and so throughout his life, Van Gogh did several. He painted this, re-illustrated this, The Sower, several times in his life, throughout his life. But this is a this is kind of like a summary of it that was written by Bavinck more for the lay audience. And so it's got biblical references and everything like that in the back of the book, introduction and all that kind of stuff. So this seemed like it would be a pretty good introduction to reading Herman Bavinck, The Wonderful Works of God. So this book, I was debating on getting it. It's not cheap. It's a pretty pricey book. It's listed as $50. If you find it on Amazon, it's like $50. eBay, you're pretty much paying at least $50, which is kind of strange how it would be inflated on eBay, but it is what it is. But I found Reformation Heritage Books. I've ordered a couple things from them in the past, and they had this listed for $37. So I picked that up. It's a chunker, but it's certainly less than 4 volumes of over 800 pages. So that, my dear friends, it's a lot. I know, I didn't expect that much. And here we are with another 30-minute video. So that all being said, we'll call it quits. Again, if you guys are interested in my thoughts on some of the tariff stuff that's going on, as well as the direwolf stuff and what Colossal Labs is doing, check out yesterday's video and let me know your thoughts on any of that stuff. Again, I'll do a when I check out that AI tutor thing, I'll let you guys know how that's going. That probably won't start till the summer, but eventually I'll let you know. So that all being said, thank you all for watching. Hope you have a good day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.